All right, I've shown you all these like fancy simulations and illustrations of moon phases. What I'd like to do is just show you kind of a handmade drawing so that you can really answer your own moon phase questions, be that on a quiz or just for your own curiosity. So let's just say here's an observer standing on the Earth, and we'll say that they're looking south, and we're looking south with them. And we're looking up at the sky, which means that east is over here, where everything's going to rise, and west is over here, where everything is going to set. And so, based on what we've learned about the relative position in the sky of the sun and the moon, we can answer some interesting questions like, if the new moon is rising, then what time of day must it be? So let's look at how we could answer a question like that. If it's a new moon, all right, I'm just going to draw up here my little like Earth orbiting thing here. So the moon is orbiting the Earth, the sun is way out here, and the sunlight's coming this way. And so the new moon must be right about here when the moon is between the Earth and the sun. Okay, that's when we see the new moon. And that means that if the new moon is rising, I'll draw the moon right here, and I might just switch colors for the sun because there's a lot of things going on here. So we'll make the sun kind of yellow. What that means is that the sun must be in roughly the same part of the sky as the moon in order for it to be the new moon. So the position of the sun in the sky tells me what time of day it is, right? Because when the sun is rising in the east, then the time is sunrise, all right? Which, is like 6 a.m., maybe 8 a.m., but we'll just call it sunrise. If the sun is way over here, we would call that noon. Okay, if the sun's way over here, we'd call that sunset. If the sun is down below our feet, we would call that midnight. All right? So the position of the sun tells us what time of day it is, and the phase of the moon tells us the relative position of the sun and the moon to one another. So let's just look at another example. I'm just going to erase these so we don't get confused. Let's say, for example, that the full moon is straight overhead. You could say, what time of day is it if the full moon is straight overhead? All right, so we'll get this moon. And full moon's overhead, so that's way up here. In order to have that be the full moon, I could draw another, so this was the new moon up here. Let's draw another example. I've got the sun over here. I've got Earth and moon's orbit. A full moon is when the moon is over here, right? And we're seeing the totally illuminated side. So it's when the sun and the moon are on opposite sides of the Earth. That means that my sun is going to be way down here below my feet on the other side of the planet, right? On the other side of the Earth. And so that corresponds to midnight. So you can see that if I know the phase and I know the location of the moon, I can know what time of day it is. All right, that's pretty cool. I could do another one if I wanted to. I suppose I could say if the full moon is setting, what time of day must it be? And that would be the same kind of drawing because we're still sticking with the full moon. So my full moon is right here. Here we go. This was my full moon drawing. And so if the full moon is over here setting in the west, that means that the sun must be over on the other side, rising. So again, that would be sunrise. That's the time of day. Now I can also do a problem that's maybe one step trickier, and that would be that if I know what the moon is doing, where it is, and what time it is. Okay, so for example, let's just say I know that the moon is setting, but I also know what phase it is. I'm sorry, no. Let's say I know here's the moon, and I know it's setting, and I know what time it is. So let's just say the moon is setting, and I know on my clock it's roughly midnight. Then I could be asked a question, which is, what is the phase? What is the phase of this moon if it is setting at midnight? That's kind of a weird question, because if you're looking at the moon, you would know what phase it was. But you could hypothetically say, okay, hey, if the moon's going to set at midnight, what is its phase? Well, if it's midnight, then I know where the sun must be. The sun must be down here, right? And that means that the part of the moon that's illuminated would be this bottom part. All right. And that tells me a lot, because the moon phase where the right-hand side is half illuminated, I can go back to my drawings here. And I can say that if the right-hand half is illuminated, let's see here. That would be, I think here, the right-hand half right there. So that's first quarter. First quarter. Okay, so I can figure out my moon phase if I know where the moon is and what time of day it is. So these things can all be related to each other. I just wanted to show you that you can use drawings, your own drawings, to answer questions like that instead of using simulations.